Great day for Canada, Canadian women from coast to coast. Now the government must tell Canadians, all consenting adults, what we can and cannot do in the privacy of our home, for money or not, and they must write laws that are fair.
Right before the Christmas holidays, the Supreme Court of Canada put the federal government on notice that they are now going to have to rewrite our prostitution laws in Canada. Well, now the federal government wants to hear from you. They're going to be holding public consultations as to what you, as a Canadian, think our prostitution laws should look like. Well, someone who has a thought or two on this is the founder of Free Them. Her name is Shae Invidiata. Thank you very much for being here. I want to know a little bit about your organization for starters, and then we'll get into specifically about the new laws. So tell us a little bit about Free Them.
So Free Them is an organization that raises awareness and funds to fight human trafficking here in Canada. And we work with all levels of law enforcement and government in our country, and then partnering with different NGOs that are doing the best of the best in their field. So working with the NGOs that are rescuing victims of trafficking, rehabilitating victims of trafficking, and of course, this topic at Supreme Court is on our forefront.
All right. And so why would that be the case? You see Terry Jean Bedford walking around with her whip all the time and she is the first person that the media runs to whenever anything has to do with this prostitution law. Were you surprised when the Supreme Court brought down the law in December? Was it kind of a blow to the work that you do?
It was very disappointing. At the same time, we have an opportunity right now in Canada to see the prostitution laws rewritten in our favor. So in some ways, all of the effort that's been happening with the Bedford case could turn out to really help us in the end. If we hear from Canadians and doing the work that Free Them does along with our other allies to see these laws changed here in Canada.
How would you like, if you have your opportunity to speak directly to very important people in the federal government, Shae, that will be listening, what would you tell them? What does your organization want to see in these new laws?
It's a great question. And one of the first things that we're saying to the federal government is it takes a wise person to learn by trial and error, but it takes a more wise person to learn from other people's mistakes. So let's do that as Canada. Look at Amsterdam, look at Norway, look at Germany, look at Australia and New Zealand, countries where this has been legalized. And not only has it backfired, but the governments are saying, we wish that we did this differently.
Okay.
So that's our first response to the Canadian government. And what we would like to adopt here in Canada is the Nordic model, but a Canadian version of that model.
Okay. So we've heard, I think it was the leader of the third party, Justin Trudeau, talking about that, the Nordic model. Vast majority of Canadians don't know what that means. So can you sum it up for us what exactly that is?
So in layman terms, the Nordic model would say we recognize that the majority of people that we're seeing within prostitution are not there by choice. So why are we criminalizing them? Let's decriminalize those that are being forced to sell their bodies and being exploited. And let's tackle down on the demand, those who are purchasing and are the exploiters, and those who are keeping them there, the pimps and traffickers.
What is the website so people can go take a look at some of the work that you are doing and perhaps get some more information?
The best is freethem.ca, or a leading member of parliament that is tackling this issue is joysmith.ca.
Okay, that's great. Thanks very much for joining us, Shae. Shae Invidiata is the founder of Free Them. We have to take a short break, but stay with us here at Sun News. Beatrice Baseman has your hard news headlines. That's next.